In our last 3 sessions, we read a letter from an Iraq War veteran who wondered how he could keep living in a world where he had seen such terrible things happen. I suggested that most people unnecessarily saw tragedy in events because of their perspective. Most of us believe the goal of life is comfort and ease, and with that perspective, anything difficult, like war, among many other things, becomes a tragedy. But when we understand the true purpose of life, which is to be genuinely happy, and when we know how that comes by learning to love others unconditionally, the difficult experiences of life can become the very way we gain the quality that makes us happy. Now, back to the writer of the letter. We grow in our ability to be loving and happy only as our love is exercised, even stressed and tested. I am not suggesting that we should invite people to injure us for the purpose of learning to love them. That would be pretty crazy. Nor am I saying that we should be doormats and willingly suffer every injustice perpetrated upon us. I am saying, however, that when we see every experience in life as an opportunity to love, we can, at the very least, learn not to resent those people who inconvenience and injure us. As we become more accepting and loving, we begin to recognize that people behave badly only because they lack sufficient real love in their lives. We no longer see them as evil monsters, but instead we see them as empty and afraid. But when we fail to understand the role of real love in all human behavior, we tend to respond to the hurtful behavior of others with our own getting and protecting behaviors, which leads only to more emptiness and fear in others and a worsening of their behavior. When we recognize that all people need to feel loved, we can respond to them so much more productively than we might otherwise. On occasion, we might still have to defend ourselves, as in a war, but we can do it without the exchange of hatred that can serve only to greatly prolong and intensify the conflict. Once you understand the real purpose of life, to be happy, and when you remember how that is achieved by loving others, you can begin to see your experiences in Iraq in an entirely different light. You can realize that although your friends may have lost limbs, for example, they were not robbed of their opportunities to be loving and happy. Because of their experiences, in fact, they may have been exposed to opportunities to learn about love in more intense ways than they would ever have known otherwise. I emphasize that this is not hollow, optimistic, Pollyanna cheerleading. Learning to be loving and genuinely happy is worth whatever price we might pay in the process. Sometimes we reach the next level of loving only as we suffer pain, as we endure illness, as we go through a divorce, as we lose a limb, or as we lose someone close to us. It takes what it takes. Some of your friends lost their lives. But rather than see that as a tragedy, you now have an opportunity to see it as the ultimate price we all must be willing to pay in order to live in a world where we are privileged to be able to find happiness. The price in some cases is very high. In our next session, we'll talk even more about happiness and the price of finding it.